at the same time, especially while things are so hectic and the whole world is releasing a lot. So when I say listen to your body, rest when you need to rest and go when you want and feel inspired to go. But by tuning into yourself and your body, you're allowing yourself slowly but surely to get into alignment with that natural flow and authenticity. So that's really the first one. Secondly, it's very similar, but riding the waves. Riding the waves means it's a somatic term. I also love surfing. So it's really tying in this ability to honor your emotional state and also not get sucked up with them. So riding the waves is kind of like the physical piece, but on the emotional level. So anytime we feel like maybe, right under your eyes, you could cry, or, you're feeling really tired, but you just don't know why, like let yourself sleep, let yourself rest, let yourself cry by sitting with it and being with it rather than pushing it away. And through doing that, you actually give yourself the experience of like, what is it like to be sad? You're allowing yourself to be in the human experience. And through that, you get to really live an authentic life. But so how do you not get lost in the emotion, right? Like sometimes I feel like I never get out of that if I let myself rest or if I let myself cry. And I'll come back to this analogy of the surfer. Like you can also ride the waves and not be overcome by them just when we have a little bit of perspective of like us in a movie, like this is just a chapter in the movie. And, even on the global spectrum, just because all this stuff is coming up or uncertainty is happening in your life doesn't mean it's here to stay. It does not mean it's here to stay. It's only if we hold on to it, it would stay. So by letting it go, releasing through emotional work that I'll share with you in a second, some more tools, and just allowing yourself to be human in those waves, that's what's going to be able to give you more flow and just like spiritually align to something bigger. So that's what I would share. And then the final piece is like get help. So if maybe you have a lot of pain or you have a chronic illness, to me as like a spiritual mentor and someone who helps people understand intuition, even through their body, that's your body really, really seeking help. That's your body crying out for help. And there is help for you, but we need to be able to read the signs. And so by getting help, whether that's through intuitive mentorship or understanding through more holistic health, but just by asking for like a sign or for some help or some guidance, that's your first step. You don't have to do it all by yourself. And so whether it's through the body or whether it's through an emotional feeling of roller coaster or feeling like you're lost or disconnected, you don't have to do it alone. We are all here for each other. We're all here for you, and we're all here to help each other lift up, right? I mean, that's the whole reason you're doing GirlNet. And so when we reach out for help, we get help. You don't have to ride these waves. Sometimes those waves can feel like tidal waves and you're just getting lost in it. And so there's lots of different tools, but just by asking for spiritual guidance and for your next best step, what that could look like, the right healer will come your way. The right book, the right podcast will be guided to you. And some tools right off the bat that anybody can use is emotional freedom technique, EFT. Hypnoses are really great. To Be Magnetic is a really wonderful hypnosis and powerful tool. And also, honestly, my work and my teachings, because this is what I do for a living. And just the work of healing and honoring this, blocks and the waves coming up, holding space, and you coming back and almost like taking care and healing your own self inside gives you the power to trust your own truth and discover more of your purpose and be powerful, because you won't need anybody else. And the remarkable part is that at least 5 clients now, a lot, have said like the work that we do is equivalent in 1 hour to 10 years of counseling, because we're not just dealing with the mind, we're dealing with the body and the root of the problem. And once you hold space with compassionate love for that, you can do anything and it releases on its own. So there it is.
Wow. I think it's all so interesting, and I really want to learn more about what you do. And I really encourage everybody that sees this video to learn more, to reach out to you. you transmit so much. Is that a right word? Transmit?
Yes, it is.
You
Yeah.
transmit so much peacefulness, and you really live by the words that you're saying. You live by the example, because I feel that sometimes professionals don't live by the example of what they're preaching, but I do feel
Absolutely.
you are, and your recommendations today are really
I
helpful.
just wanted to say, Chanel, and to everyone watching, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. We can all be imperfect and start this journey, hear the guidance, follow our intuition, spiritually heal, go to our next level. And even just this morning, I was, listening to my own sources and guidance of inspiration. Kyle Cease is another great resource. And just to, you know, like continue to be more authentic to ourselves, rather than like old paradigms that we have to show up a certain way. The truth is, I think, when we come from that place of heart and authenticity and truth of what we want and who we are, and showing that side, that's what is magnetic and also is going to help the most people, rather than any type of perfection. So even when we're continuing to move on, you can do it imperfect. You can do all of this imperfect. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much. Wow, that last message really helped me, because I feel like the world is constantly pushing us to be perfect, since we're in school, taking tests and doing work. You're always pointing out what you did wrong.
Right.
Very few times they tell you what you're doing right. So I feel like we should all, as adults now, learn how to forgive ourselves and how to take imperfection as beauty. It's the beauty of life to always improve yourself, and there's always room for improvement. So
Yeah, and looking at the 96% of what was really awesome, rather than the 4% that wasn't. I'm even still recovering from academia, and like, just last night had a dream where I shot off a rocket with two of my friends, and it was this beautiful experience. And then my English teacher from high school came and like beat us up. And I was just like realizing, like, wow, that's some serious healing going on down in the surface, down under the surface, because that's, all of that can stop us from shining our light. And yet that's the cultural norm in school, in a profession where it's, I don't know, anything, corporate or personal branding, it doesn't matter. But I think we all want that forgiveness. We all want that gentleness and kindness. And the more that we can show up for ourselves in that way, that's really the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is that magnificence that, got us 75 even percent on a paper. Is that good enough? Not to maybe our standards. However, like, you could come to it either way. You could come to it and beat yourself up for it, or you could have the same grade and come to it and say, how am I going to improve because I love myself enough to not beat myself up. Like, you can have it either way. So we're pioneers here to be more authentic and kind and loving to ourselves.
yes, thank you so much for everything. It's been amazing, and you are simply awesome.
Thank you, Chanel. And thank you for everyone watching.
Thank you.